ceasefire agreement under Phase 1 of the Gaza ceasefire deal. Hamas has said that the 20 living Israeli hostages in exchange for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners earlier today. The Hostages and Missing Families Forum is calling for the immediate suspension of all agreement implementation until every deceased hostage is returned from Gaza. In a separate update, Israel's Defence Minister Israel Katz says that releasing only 4 bodies today would be a failure by Hamas to meet its commitments. Meanwhile, the Israeli military said the International Red Cross was on its way to the meeting point in the south of Gaza to receive several coffins with the bodies of the hostages. And it was prepared to receive additional coffins expected to be transferred to the Red Cross as well. Now joining us on the telecast is my colleague and correspondent Rema Hans. Rema, thank you for joining us. What can you tell us more about the hostage deal coming into effect and now the raising concerns over the bodies and the handover of the bodies of the hostages?
Yes, Asuma, it's indeed historic that war that has been going on for 2 years is almost coming to an end, with, as you mentioned, 20 hostages now back in Israel and over 20 Palestinian prisoners now returning back to Gaza, and have both the parties, both the hostages as well as the Palestinian prisoners, they have all reunited with their families. But now, yes, the raising concern is over the bodies of the hostages that have not yet made it back to Israel. And yes, earlier Hamas had mentioned that they will be releasing the 4 bodies of the hostages today, and now we are learning that they have been now transferred to Red Cross. We have the names of the hostages right here who have been transferred to the Red Cross. There are altogether, to tell our viewers, there are altogether 28 bodies, and out of which 4 have already made it back. The hostages are namely Guy Eliuz, Yossi Sharabi, Bipin Joshi and Daniel Perez. The bodies of these 4 hostages are now safely back in Israel, but the question is, what about the rest of the bodies? And the families from the forum are constantly demanding that there can't be further negotiations with Hamas on this, and they will keep demanding the release of the bodies of the hostages until and unless it's made it back to Israel. There will be protests that will continue in Israel. The families are constantly in touch with the government of Israel, but IDF has not yet confirmed on to what will be the next step, and what will be the steps taken by Hamas. A Hamas official also earlier mentioned that because of the destruction in Gaza, they have not been able to find the bodies of the hostages. This has not been verified by IDF yet, and not to mention, as the Egypt summit is taking place parallelly, the Trump and the Middle East leaders, they are likely to discuss the Hamas disarmament, humanitarian aid that will enter into Gaza once there's still, as I mentioned, this the tension over the release of the bodies of the hostages. The reconstruction plan in Gaza will also be taking place. Deployment of international security forces in Gaza will also be part of the transition phase. And of course, we'll soon know, and we'll find out whether the bodies of and how many bodies will actually make it back to Israel. Over to you, Asuma.
Thank you, Rema Hans, for sharing that. Please stay with us as we come back to you for another news. Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has landed in Egypt and held a media interaction alongside Egyptian President El-Sisi. President Trump is co-chairing the summit with the Egyptian president as he welcomed the leaders at the summit venue. Now, President Trump has met Palestinian Authority leader Mahmoud Abbas at the summit. World leaders attending the summit include French President Emmanuel Macron, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, along with other leaders. The summit primarily focuses on securing and implementing the multi-phase peace agreement between Israel and Hamas. One of the key areas to be discussed is Gaza's future governance, as associates close to Hamas have already stated that Hamas would not be part of the transition phase of the governance. The